If you're tired of feeling like you're running through a wall to try and reach your goals all the time and you only end up stuck spinning your wheels, this video is for you because I'm going to dive into one of the most critical keys to unlocking financial success by defining what winning actually looks like for you. I find so many entrepreneurs do not have a definition of what winning looks like for them, and they are running other people's races. Trust me, without clarity, no amount of hustle, no amount of grind is going to get you where you want to go. My name is Gavin McHale. I'm a business performance coach and the author of Consciouspreneur, right here, what to do when the hard work stops working. And if you want to dive deeper on this journey and you want to learn more about this stuff, I'm excited to invite you to join the pre-sale list for this book, get tons of free bonuses. All you got to do is click the link in the description. It's completely free. Now, let's dive into this video that is a paid presentation. It's a portion of it on money mindset so that you can redefine what winning really means for you. Enjoy the video. Now, here's what I know about you as a high performer. You want to win. Okay? When I said raise your hand about, who wants to make more money, you guys are laughing. It's like, of course we want to make more money because this is the way we think. It's like I will run through a wall to get what I want. But what I also know is that might not be working as well anymore. I know because it hasn't worked as well for me. As you start to go up the rungs of the ladder, it gets a little harder. We can't just work harder to get what we want. And generally, what I've found with all my coaching clients, people at Nolan's level included, there's a story that has protected you in the past, but it's not protecting you and it's not serving you anymore. It is protecting you from something, but at the same time, it's keeping you from getting what you want. And that's likely why you don't have the level of income and the level of money that you want right now. And that's what we're going to dig into. So I want to do this really quickly, simply because like the next few minutes are going to feel like a banking class, which is pretty boring. You would not believe the number of millionaires that I work with and Galel works with as well, because I talked to him about this stuff, that have no freaking clue about their financial situation. I'm like, hey, how much does it cost? How much does your lifestyle cost every month? How much this? How much that? What? What do you mean? I just make more money. Okay. So we need to begin with the end in mind. So this might feel a little more banking wise, like a banking class, but if you don't have this, nothing else matters. So let's rip through it quick. Let's figure out some numbers first. How much money do you need to make every month to cover your lifestyle? So basic living expenses, housing, food, transportation, hobbies. If you don't know how much your life costs right now, that needs to be your first priority. Okay. I have a belief that we'll pull it back into the mindset side, that money is energy. So just like a new friend or trying to, start a new relationship, if you want more, you need to make friends with it. You need to become closer to it. You need to get to know it a little bit. So how can you expect to make friends with money if you don't know anything about it? Okay, so basic living expenses. What does that cost you? Taxes. A lot of you are Canadian. We love our taxes. Okay. And then the next question here, just to add on to that, is what about living your dream life? Like, what do you want that you don't currently have? And how much is that going to cost you? So a lot of people will say, oh, I want to travel more. Great. How much do you want to travel? Where do you want to travel? Are you business class only? Great. How much does a trip generally cost you? And are you planning for that? My wife and I, travel has been a huge thing for us. We call it an experience fund that we pay money into every month so we can enjoy things. We can enjoy trips without worrying about, having to pull from our checking account and things like that. If you want a new house, if you want a bigger house, great, go for it. How much is that going to cost you? What's the down payment on that? How much is it to service the mortgage? Are you going to be renting it at all? and how soon do you want it? So I want my place on the island by the time I'm 40, which gives me a little over 3 years. So Miles and I are going to figure out exactly what that's going to cost me. I know it's going to be in the 7-figure range, multiple 7 figures likely, depending where I'm at. Okay, I have a pretty good idea. What's the down payment going to look like? What's the monthly expenses going to look like? And then I just got to get to work. But when we have a clear definition of what winning looks like, it's easier to win. When we have a crappy, murky, vague definition of what winning looks like, it becomes a lot harder. So my encouragement to you, if you didn't do it right now, is to spend some time thinking, how much money do I want to make to cover the things that I want to have? Obviously, we can go more than that. That's great. Like, get your bag, man. Go for it. But if it's not clear what it is that you want, then it's going to be a lot harder to get there. And even when you get there, you might not even know you got there. And that's not fun at all. Because when we get to where we want to go, we want to celebrate the win. Be like, hell yeah, I made it. Right? So then we can use this like killer instinct that you guys have to run through a wall. We can actually use it when we have a clear vision of what we want. Okay? So are you guys with me? Can you guys drop a 2 in the chat if you guys are with me? We got some thumbs up. Okay, good. Is there any questions so far before I dive into the mindset side of things? Deirdre's really with me. Awesome. Cool. Okay. Let's begin now. So one of my favorite quotes when it comes to mindset work and just the work that I do in general is, until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. There's another great quote from a guy named Orson Scott Card that goes something like, we're willing to question our beliefs except the ones that we truly believe, those we never think to question. Okay, that's where we're going to dig today, is where are those beliefs about money that we never even thought to question? All right. Now, we all have something in common, which is great. No matter where you grew up, no matter what situation you grew up in, we all grew up in a cult. And it was the cult of what our parents or our caregivers believed about the world. Okay. There was this podcast I listened to, and he said, every single one of us for the first 18 years of our life, or until we move, is indoctrinated into a cult because we live in that household and it's whatever those people say, right? So let's think about, it's not even necessarily what they say, but also how they act around money. So I want you to think about, what class did you grow up in? So I mentioned earlier, I grew up like in the heart of the middle class. Dad was a cop, mom was a teacher. Okay, both of those like kind of work for the man jobs. And then my parents' closest friends, 3 couples, teacher and a principal, teacher and a baggage handler, teacher and an auto mechanic. I was getting hammered every which way on middle class beliefs. So what class did you grow up in? That's the first thing I want you to think about. And then the people that you were around, were there wealthy people around? Were there people who were in a lower class than you around? I know that we all kind of had that one, at least I did. We had that like 1 or 2 people who like made a little bit more money and maybe almost escaped the matrix. That's the middle class kind of always has that. But what was interesting was all these people could see some potential in me, whether it was with my hockey or with my school or just in general. So I was always told that I was smart enough and talented enough and had the potential to do anything I wanted. But then they would encourage me, take the safe job, take the steady job. You should be a teacher because you get 2 months off. You should be a cop because you get a great pension. But you just told me that I could do anything. This isn't making sense, right? Want you to also think about TV shows and movies you enjoyed as a kid. Drop in the chat one TV show or movie you enjoyed as a kid. One of the movies that I remember as a kid, Richie Rich. Okay. A little older, Billy Madison. How do these depict money? Not well, right? Richie Rich has no friends. Slapshot, nice. Gilligan's Island, Parks and Rec, nice. I want you to think about how all these shows depict money. And if you go back and look about how they talk about money and what they think about money, even you look at these like super popular shows like Friends, they always didn't have enough money. There was always like these like negative connotations around having money. And what I've realized is a lot of TV shows, sitcoms in particular, especially like 90s, early 2000s, were built for the middle class because they knew who was watching. And it just further ingrained us into these beliefs of, money is bad, money is hard to make. Your marriage is probably going to be a little rocky, and you're probably going to fight about money a lot of times. Think about these things. These are the things that are ingrained in us deeply that we don't even think to question. Oh, yeah, Billy Madison. When you make that much money, your kid's going to be a complete shithead and is going to stay at home till he's 30 years old and can't do anything. Right? I don't think that's how any of us want our kids to be, but we want that kind of money. Something to think about. Okay, some more on the childhood cult. What did your parents say about money? Okay, my dad's number one comment on money: there's no pockets in coffins. What does he mean by that? If you got it, spend it. And then I wonder why, when I had my first ever 20K month, why I had to look and go, why can I not pay myself? Because if you got it, spend it, man. There's no pockets in coffins. And that's such a middle class mindset, right? Make sure that you have just enough to cover everything, and then it starts again at zero. And some months you don't have enough to cover the end. There's, more month than money, right? And other months, if we have extra, oh, let's go on a vacation. Let's blow it all. Let's buy a new TV. Right. So what did mom and dad say, or even just like adults and people you're around, what did they say about money? And then also, what did they do about money when it came to money? Did what they did align with what they said? How did they act around it? I also remember money being a very stressful subject in my house. I remember my dad trying to balance the checkbook, right? Do you guys remember those checkbooks where like you had to keep all your receipts and then you'd balance the checkbook? And he'd be like yelling into the other room, like, where's the receipt for this? I can't balance the checkbook without the receipt. And he's like yelling at my mom, and it's super stressful and he can't get it balanced, right? He's got the old calculator out. I remember those things. We all remember those things because they affect us.